Hey friends, what's up? Good morning. How you doing? I'm here getting some gas. I'm gonna take off on a little adventure today, have some fun. But I thought I'd bring you along with me and just talk about a couple things. Mainly, the RS I have now is a 2020, and am I gonna get a new one? So I've been contemplating that, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. So let me get the bike started and get underway here. Hello, officers. Hanging out at the gas station. Alright, so today I'm going to have some fun ride around, and I'm going to probably stop by my local dealerships to say hello to my friends and just, of course, window shop and check out the toys. It's going to be a hot one today. I think we're breaking records. It's already 92 degrees, and it's only just shy, or it's 11 o'clock in the morning. It's supposed to be 105 or something today. So I'm going to get my ride in for the next couple hours, hopefully before those real hot temps roll in. And as you can see, I'm not wearing my jacket. Naughty me. I always ride with gear, and it's just so hot. So I'm going to ride with my shirt. I got this made. Got the Texas 2 Tires logo on the front here, and on the back the big circle one. It's not merch, it's not for sale, so don't worry, I'm not going to be pushing that on you. I just made them for myself. Alright, so I've been asked a number of times by friends, salespeople, passerbys, whatever, if I'm going to get the new RS 1300 RS to be precise. So mine's a 2020 R1250 RS, and of course the new one came out. Completely new bike from pretty much the ground up. New engine, new styling, fairings, ergonomics, everything. I mean, there are some carryovers like the TFT and stuff like that, and it still retains the flavor of the bike, I guess. But right now, the short answer to that is no. I'm going to hold off and probably wait, because not only am I going to wait to contemplate that decision, but there's some other bikes that have caught my eye, and I don't know if I'm going to go just right back into the RS. I might want to try something different for a few years and go back to the RS if I need to. But so those there's a lot of bikes that catch my eye. Obviously, I love all motorcycles, but the BMW, we're going to stay in the BMW family here. BMW XR, that's caught my eye. Got a lot of friends that own those, and not one of them is disappointed they bought it. Well, let me pedal back on that a little bit. One of the guys I know that bought one, he bought the M1000 XR, and he likes it and all that, but I think his major complaints, there were two. One was he was having a little bit of front end shimmy. There was some like vibration going on that I think he resolved with new tires or something. I can't remember, but that was his complaint for that one. Other friends that have them, they've never said that, so I don't know, maybe his bike was a one-off. But then the other thing he talked about, and this is pertains to the M version of that XR, is the carbon fiber rims, which look awesome and of course save some weight, but they're not that strong in terms of impact. So he was riding his bike, front end went into a pothole, and according to him it wasn't like an overly huge pothole, but it cracked the front rim. And those things, I'll research it, put it up on the screen here, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think to get a new rim for that bike, I think that rim is like $3,000 or something like that. It's a lot of money. And of course, when you get the bike, you can get the tire and wheel insurance or whatever it's called, and that will replace one tire, I think, or one rim, I should say. Not both, but his only cracked in the front, so he had to give it to service, and they had his bike for a long time waiting for the rim to come in and all that. Other than that, though, everyone else just loves the bike, and I've test rode the M a couple times. I've test rode the regular, S1000 XR version. I think it's an amazing bike. Its ergonomics, or I'll just compare it to my RS right now. Its ergonomics are more comfortable. It's definitely a more comfortable bike to ride. The seat and the tank are built in such a way that you kind of slip into the bike. It's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm putting a pair of pants on. It's just so snug, and it's easy to hug the tank with your legs, and it just feels very connected, body to bike type situation. It's got the inline 4 race motor, which is, I think it's the old engine from the double R platform, something like that, but it's a sport inspired engine, and so you've got that higher revving engine if you like to be the speed demon. It's a fun bike. Now, it doesn't have the low-end torque that this bike has, so you're not going to get that same kind of fun pull from 0 to 60 as you would on this. But on top end, that XR is much better than this, and it has a higher, top end in terms of speed. It will go faster than this bike. Let's see what else. Oh, and if you are an RS rider, the gearbox, on those inline 4s are just so smooth. If you ride an RS and get off and then get on an XR and take it for a spin and use the quick shifter, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this thing is amazing. It's just so smooth, and you can kind of switch gears at any RPMs really, and it just slips right in, click, and it doesn't do the bucking bronco that this thing does. So that's some bonuses there. So that's got my eye, that one. And then the K bike, the K1600, for some reason, I've test rode it a couple times, and its major, first impression, wow, the first thing is there's zero vibration on that thing. It's like, as a matter of fact, I made a video with a friend of mine that was running the BMW sales at Ride Now, my friend Nick. We went for a ride together. I initially was riding the R18. This is, I think, a couple years ago now, but I wanted to, kind of see what this R18, the kind of Harley inspired or cruiser inspired BMW felt like and all that. So we went for a ride, and he took a K1600, and we rode around a little bit, and then he goes, hey, you want to swap and check this out? And I said, heck yeah. And that was the first time I rode the K1600. He gave me the key fob, I gave him my key fob, I got on it and I tried to start it, and it was already running. He left it running in neutral, and I tried to start it because I didn't feel the typical vibrations from this boxer motor that I am accustomed to. So that was like, wow, oh my god, this thing is so smooth and nice. The second thing was, well, it is, I think, one downside of that bike, in my opinion, because I am a little shorter. It is top heavy, and this doesn't have to do with my height really. It's just that if you're taller, I think you have a little bit more leverage on moving it around. But it's a little bit top heavy. It is a heavy bike. It's over 700 pounds, I think. So it's not as easy to deal with in a standstill position, or really, slowly maneuvering in a parking lot, putting your feet down, picking your feet up, putting your feet down, something like that. Take off on that thing, it is like riding on a cloud. I mean, it's the first thing I thought of was, it's as close as you can get to riding a Star Wars speeder bike, one of those floating speeder bikes the stormtroopers rode. It just is so smooth, and it's basically a touring bike that is built like a sport bike / Ferrari. I mean, it is so fast, and it's got you know, what was it, 164 horsepower, I think, 130 something torque, or I'll put the numbers up there, but it's got amazing numbers on paper, and then when you ride it, you can feel them too. I mean, it blasts off. And then one of the things I think would be essential to that is getting the exhaust switched out, because the exhaust on that thing is pretty burly and not that attractive in my opinion, and it kind of quiets the bike down too much. Is a Remus exhaust. I've heard quite a few of those bikes that have Remus on them, and they sound amazing. They really do sound like you know, a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or something starting up. Just a very cool bike and very cool sound. And then if you're going to ride 2-up, so I think I may, in the you know, coming up in the future here, my wife maybe will start riding with me. Right now she doesn't, but that'd be a, you know, more comfortable bike for her to be on the back. And it has reverse. You can get reverse for it, so at least if you're trying to back out of something, you can do it a little easier, more easily, I should say. So those are the XR and that K1600, a couple bikes that I'm considering. The RT, I would consider that too, but it's already getting so warm in there. I think it's just overpriced. I mean, it's more expensive than the K1600 at this point. So I'm like, and it's the same motor as this. Well, it's the new version, of course, but I got a new one. It's the 1300. And you know, you're gonna get the clunky shifting and all that stuff. The only way to avoid that is if you get any of the Boxers have this. You have options for this, I think. I know the RS does, as well as the RT. You can get the ASA system, which is the automatic shift assist, or assistant, or whatever they call it. And that basically means you don't have a clutch lever. So you have manual and automatic. And manual is you can use the quick shifter up and down, first gear to 6, 6 to 1. And automatic is the bike shifts for you, so you just ride it around like a scooter. So with that configuration, the transmission is different, and the gear shifter for your left foot is basically an electronically controlled shifter. So it's the shifter's just giving the engine inputs that you're shifting. So it's basically a paddle shifter. So it's not directly connected to the transmission mechanically, it's electronically. So that one is very smooth, because you're just telling the Boxer engine, okay, shift, and it shifts for you when you hit the quick shifter, and it's quite smooth. I test rode it, and I was very surprised by that. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool. You know, a lot of people, including myself, kind of poo-poo on the, no clutch, that's not a motorcycle, what's going on, blah blah blah. But the reality is, on this bike, and I guess I'll start to segue into another part of this conversation, is, you know, why would I not get the new bike? And one of the reasons, and I'm going to touch back onto this shifter thing, is I like the way my bike looks. So I don't really, the new version hasn't really captured me yet. I think it's growing on me a little bit, but the design, you know, looks completely different. It's silhouette and all that stuff, and the ergonomics are different. It's more lean forward. It's not as comfortable as this bike. One thing is, I've put a lot of money into this bike to get it to where I want it, and because the 1300 is a completely new platform, basically from ground up, none of the things that I've bought for this bike are going to fit on that bike. So I'd have to go ahead and repurchase all the different doodads and things that I did for this bike. So that's kind of a pain. And the biggest thing, and I think one of the big main points of this whole conversation, is that I have a tune on this bike and a full Akrapovic titanium system. So in terms of horsepower and torque, the new 1300 has more horsepower, has 10 more horsepower than this bike on paper, and 5 more torque than this bike on paper. So with that new exhaust system I have, well, not new, I've had it for a while now, but with the full Akrapovic system and the BT Moto tune on the bike, I would say that this bike probably has similar to or equal than those numbers of the new bike in terms of horsepower and torque. And you get all the benefits of having the tune. So let me go over some of those. So if you have, they do a lot of, the BT Moto does a lot of different tunes for bikes. They do kind of specialize in BMW, but they do, you know, Yamaha, a whole bunch of other ones. If you go on their website, you can, you know, check to see if they have one for your bike. Most tunes cost about $800 to $900, and it's pretty convenient the way it works. Like you buy it, you pick your bike, buy it, and then they send you the little mechanical reader handheld device. You hook that up to your bike, you follow the directions, it reads your bike, and it takes a copy of your map that's in your ECU, and then you email that. You hook up the handheld to your laptop or something, your computer, and you send that, you email it to BT Moto, and then within about 24 hours they send you back the map for your bike, and that gets downloaded into the handheld. You take the handheld over to your bike, plug it in, and you download, override basically the stock map. And what that does is does a lot of things. It fixes, takes the limiter away, so you can kind of go as fast as you want on this. It gives you more instant access to the throttle. So on a stock bike, when you crank, if you hit the throttle from 0 to pinned, there's going to be a little hesitation, and it's also not going to give you full access. Whereas this one, it opens that up. It kind of fixes the startup idle, so when you start the bike, it goes right to around, I think it's 2,000 RPMs, and just sits there, or 1.5, something like that. On the stock bike, when you start it for about 2 minutes straight, it'll rev high, like around 2.5 or 3 revs, and then it calms down after a couple minutes. It's kind of like a warm-up thing, but there's really no need for that, especially living in a hot, kind of warm climate like this. But and then it also fixes the idle. For me, this is what I experienced anyways. When I used to come home on my street, I'd come around a corner, and then I would be in first gear and just kind of slowly roll to my driveway. And because I'm starting to slow down without braking, I'm just using the engine brake basically. Once it gets down, the RPM's low enough, the bike starts bucking really hard, like it's about to stall. You know, it's gonna stall if you go too slow. But it kind of bucks. It's like boom, boom, and it kind of jerks you around. I notice now with the BT Moto tune that it doesn't buck like that. It kind of just feels like it's gonna slip into neutral or something. It kind of just lets you go at those slower speeds without bouncing you around all over the place. And that's also helpful, like, you know, when I go into parking lots, I'm looking for a parking space, you're going really slow. You typically, before I got the BT Moto tune, I would have to feather the clutch on and off, on and off, on and off, kind of keeping the bike moving without stalling. And now I can kind of just keep the clutch lever open and just kind of putter along, and it'll shake a little bit if it's really going too slow and it's about to stall, but it's not as violent. Whoops, trash in the road. So that's cool. And then it smoothed out the shifting too. I mean, it hasn't fixed it, you can't fix it. It's really kind of smoothed out how that works, and I've become accustomed to it. and I've been able to ride this bike using the quick shifter from second gear up to 6 and 6 to 1 without the hand clutch. Wow. But if I want to, you know, kind of cruise slowly, ride slower, and just enjoy the environment, I'll clutch everything so I have smooth transitions. Because if you use the quick shifter at lower RPMs, it will buck around on you, jerk you forward and stuff. And it's not that comfortable. You really kind of you have to get on the bike, get the RPMs up to, you know, beyond 6,000. It redlines at 9. So typically if I'm playing the hooligan, for me anyways, not a real hooligan, I'll shift it around, quick shifter around 6.5 to 7,000 revs, something like that. And it's pretty smooth. I've got it attuned to the sound and the vibration, I guess the whole feeling of the bike. I can sense, like all of you that ride, you can feel it. You just kind of know, okay, here it is, bam, you hit it, and it's a nice, pretty smooth shift. Not as smooth as the XR or those inline 4s, but for a boxer, pretty smooth. So the BT Moto tune has really dialed this bike in to be a very nice bike. For me, I really enjoy it. So I've got 44,000 miles on it, and it still runs beautifully. I keep up on the maintenance, keep all the records straight and all that. So, and I don't beat on this bike at all. I'm I think most of you that know me or watch my videos more, I'm pretty conservative. I mean, I get on the throttle a little bit here and there, but not crazy. I don't do wheelies, don't do burnouts. And I'm not beating on the bike. I take care of it. And I have fun. For me, it's, you know, everyone's fun on a motorcycle is different. I'm also approaching 60, and I think if I was 25, I would be probably on a double R. But my old back is not happy on that double R. I'm too crunched up. So if you have a BMW, especially a boxer, or any BMW really, you know, really consider getting that BT Moto tune. I have a code in the description below. You can use that code when you buy it, and it gives you like 5% off, which will translate into about $40 or $50 of savings. It depends on what tune you get, and if you get the velocity stacks with it, or, you know, do stage 2. I just have the stage 1 on this, which is basically the tune, and then there's a stage 2. I think they have a new stage 2 without the velocity stacks. I'm not sure. One of my friends was telling me that. But anyways, yeah, if you're interested, you know, check out their website. Check out other YouTubers that are talking about the BT Moto. Some people do complain about it and said, oh, you know, but I've never had a problem with it. I've just had nothing but love for this, the tune. It's like having a new bike, really. And all my friends that have the BT Moto tune, nobody's had problems with it. Everyone loves it. It's a solid investment. And you definitely want to get, you know, your exhaust done. You know, you don't have to go full titanium like I did. I just got a really good deal on it, so I went that route, and it looks pretty cool. The bluing and the purplish colors on the pipes there coming out of the heads. All right, so I'm heading first to AF1 Racing, which is, both the dealerships are downtown right off of 35, the major highway. So I'm getting, as I get closer, we're getting more and more into the kind of downtown area, which is red lights, red lights, red lights. But it's my long-winded discussion on, am I going to get a new 1300 RS? What am I thinking about? Other bikes, the BT Moto, how that plays into that whole equation. If I didn't have a BT Moto and there was no such thing, I would definitely probably consider getting the new 1300 just for the extra power. Then you'd get, you know, it's a new bike, looks new, looks different. that would be a different decision, I think, on my part. But like I said, BT Moto really changed this bike, and I was told when I bought this bike by a few different kind of BMW expert type people. They said, wait for the, you know, when your warranty is up after 3 years or 36,000 miles, get a BT Moto tune, and it'll be like you had a nice, amazing bike for 3 years, and then you've traded it in for, you know, you put the BT Moto on it, and then it's like you have a brand new bike. It's like you traded in and you've got a new bike now that's faster and more fun, and it really, 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 truly is. I feel 100% on that. This bike was all the fixes and tweaks that tune did to this bike made it really fun and like a whole new bike. So that is that, my friends. Leave some comments below what your thoughts are, because I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that listen to this that have an RS, that have a 1200 or have a 1250. I think if I had the 1200, I would definitely upgrade, because then you'd get, you know, not only the better engine, but you get the TFT, you get all kinds of other goodies along with the bike if you like those bells and whistles. Some people are, you know, hardcore old school and they don't like all those newfangled things. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that. If you still love your RS and want to keep it, or if you want to, you know, thinking about getting a new 1300, or like me, thinking like, hey, you know, maybe that XR would be pretty cool or something like that. There's a friendly biker over there, backpacker with like a cat ears on their helmet. If you're considering buying one of these bikes, definitely test ride one if you can, because it is such a fun bike. The torque, I tell everybody this, the torque is where the fun is for the street, because it allows you to, you know, I tell everyone this bike is super fun, 0 to 100. And that range, this bike is so fun. It's fast. You can disappear cars, like when you're next to a car on the highway, or even on a 2-lane street like this, and they're a little too close, or you don't want to be near them. You just twist the throttle and you're gone. So it's a totally different riding experience, I think, than you know, an inline 4 1000, you know, inline 4 engine that is sport tuned and revs high. Those bikes can get with a tune on one of those BMW RRs and all the right pieces and parts. You know, those things can get up to about 200 miles an hour. And for those speed demons out there, that's amazing and fun. But there's really not a whole lot of places you can do that other than the freeway. And again, it's not a racetrack, you know, so there's going to be, especially here, the highways are a mess here. There's cracks, there's shit in the road, there's, you know, erratic drivers, all kinds of things that could get in your way and really ruin your day. So for me, riding on the street, I prefer a bike that is super fun, 0 to 100 miles an hour, up to 120, something like that. That's plenty. You don't need to be going much faster than that. You know, those leader bikes really are for people. In reality, they should be for people that, you know, hit the racetrack. See, like what I'm saying here, like, this highway it's been like this for years. They've been working on this forever. It's just a mess. But yeah, for me, torque is, when I'm looking at street bikes, I want to see what the torque is like, and that's more important to me than horsepower. So I'm going to be coming up in a little while on this exit to get off to AF1 Racing. AF1 Racing is a lot of cool people work there, I know, and they sell the Aprilias and Triumph, Moto Guzzi. So they do a lot of tie-in bikes, except for Ducati. Ducati's a separate dealership here in Austin. See that? Like, it just zipped through there, no problem. But I like coming here, checking in on the new bikes, what's new. And the cool thing about AF1 is they typically have a demo bike for not every bike they sell, but for quite a few of them, especially the popular ones. Which means you can come here, of course, if you're a serious buyer and really want to buy a bike, and test ride a bike. A lot of the other dealerships don't have that. Okay, we're here. So I'm gonna hang out here for a little while. Get this mic out. Yeah, so I'm gonna hang out here for a little while and then head off. So thanks for joining me. Again, put some questions or comments, suggestions, all that great stuff down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the new RS. And that's it. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Consider that, because it really helps me out a lot. Share it with your buddies that love RSs. And thumbs up if you think this is a informative, fun video. That's it. Take care, friends. I'll see you next time. Later.